Perfect. All right. Well, welcome everyone, and thank you again, Leilani, for that very warm welcome to this meeting.
Thank you, Jen.
And all right. So again, my name is Jennifer Kramer, and I am a product and technology consultant for Sabre, and I am based in North America. And as Leilani said, Vicki and I will share information to help you prepare for the launch of NDC offers through the Sabre marketplace. While we look at NDC through the lens of the upcoming American Airlines implementation, it's important to note that this subject matter is universal in nature and it's applicable to consuming all NDC content through the Sabre marketplace. We recognize that those of you that are attending the call today are all at different points on their NDC journeys. So we will begin by level setting everyone with some NDC definitions and terms. We will then dive into details about the capabilities that are available for American Airlines NDC at launch. Next, we will spend some time describing implications for your organization as NDC comes to life, including a demo of NDC capabilities in Sabre Red 360. And then at the end, we have reserved some time to respond to some of your questions. So feel free to enter your questions in the chat, and we will do our best to answer those questions near the end. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. We'll start by discussing the foundation of NDC. So what is NDC? Despite NDC being around for a while, people are at different points on their journey. So I find it very helpful to do some quick level setting on terms and concepts. NDC, which stands for New Distribution Capability, is an industry initiative to evolve airline distribution technology standards. Specifically, the move from today's EDIFACT messaging and communication standards to a SOAP XML messaging and communication standard. The aim is to improve the retailing experience across third parties to create symmetry across the distribution path. As you all know, airlines are building new retailing capabilities and deploying smarter offers via their direct sales channel. NDC enables those smart offers to be distributed via the indirect channel as well. And the indirect channel is where Sabre sits. While NDC is rooted in the airline industry, other links in the travel value chain stand to benefit as well. And we'll take a look at those other links. So we'll start with an airline. So if you're an airline, airlines can create new value with new content options. Airlines can expand the distribution reach to increase sales and revenue. And airlines can gain greater control over what is sold, when it's sold, where and to whom an offer is sold. Additionally, airlines can have more differentiation through the inclusion of rich content like media. If you're an agency, agencies can gain greater access to new types of content. Agencies can use this content for cross-sell and upsell opportunities associated with the new types of content. And agencies have the ability to differentiate and win new business during the RFI and RFP processes, especially with negotiated content. Corporations can also benefit from NDC. NDC creates opportunity for corporations to negotiate new types of content options that can better align with their travel program needs and objectives. So, for example, If you have a lot of employees that frequently travel between specific origins and destinations, perhaps negotiating inclusions such as lounge access or priority boarding can help drive compliance and attachment rates to fulfill the objectives of a travel program. As travel options are tuned more finely to the company's specific needs, there should be enhanced compliance with corporate travel policies because the presented options better align with travelers' needs. And greater compliance and the potential for more tailored offering also has the potential to help with balancing corporate travel budgets. There are also benefits for travelers. Travelers will have access to new and more relevant travel options. And this is key, right? That's what travelers are asking for. And NDC helps to carve the way towards personalized retailing experiences. Sabre is very well positioned to help you adopt NDC because we work with each constituent in the travel value chain. We provide access to NDC via our offer and order APIs and our agency solution, Sabre Red 360. Corporate travelers can access NDC offers using our online booking tool, Get There. Working with Sabre to activate NDC capabilities, you can expect to realize many benefits like access to content at scale, including those NDC offers, maintain the same experience in the booking process for both traditional content and NDC content, and support corporate travel policy adherence. There are varying NDC schemas and implementations across airlines, which introduce significant levels of complexity. NDC implementations are not cookie cutter. They are not rinse and repeat. They are not plug and play. Each implementation is unique for each carrier. And our approach to technical design allows us to integrate and normalize multiple types of content, including traditional content that we know today, the ATPCO and EDIFACT content, low-cost carrier XML options, and NDC offers. We consolidate that into a single workflow to help your teams maintain efficiency. Sabre's product development is API first, meaning we consolidate and normalize content across suppliers and expose a uniform experience and capabilities to our customers through a set of offer and order APIs. I know I have mentioned the acronym API multiple times already. So for those of you that don't know, API stands for Application Programming Interface. Sabre is API-led, and Sabre Red 360 and Get There then consume these APIs and expose these capabilities to our consumers. Our self-build or developer customers have access to these same API enhancements at the same time as our Sabre internal product teams have gain access. So this reduces the delay in end-to-end adoption across key constituents within the value chain. Today, Sabre has 10 airlines in production with NDC content. Those airlines are American Airlines, the 4 carriers included in the Avianca Group, Finnair, Qantas, Qatar, Singapore Airlines, and United Airlines. The 2 carriers that we most recently launched are American Airlines and United Airlines. We also have a robust development pipeline of more than 35 airlines that are interested in distributing their NDC content through the Sabre GDS. Here we can see what that pipeline looks like. So if we start at the bottom of this page, we can see those carriers that we have already launched for NDC content in Sabre. And if you look towards the middle of the page, you can see those carriers that we are in development with currently to launch their NDC content. We believe that the Lufthansa Group, the 5 carriers that are included in the Lufthansa Group, are going to be the next carriers to launch in Sabre with NDC. We are going to be kicking off a soft launch at the beginning of May, and we plan on launching the Lufthansa Group carriers sometime in the June timeframe, and then shortly followed by Aeromexico and Emirates. We are in the discovery phase with Air Canada, Air France, British Airways, Cathay Pacific, Iberia, LATAM, and Malaysia Airlines. And then the rest of the carriers that we have listed here, we are in the exploration phase. And there are quite a few carriers that we are exploring NDC with. Now we're going to talk about how you can gain access to American Airlines NDC content. So as I said, we have launched American Airlines NDC content in Sabre, and that was launched on April 3rd. We launched American Airlines NDC content in 95 markets, all listed here. And take a look at the key in the lower right-hand corner of this page. This will help you identify those cash-only markets where seats are not available. This is specific to Korea, and those markets where local currency is supported. I'll just give you a moment to take a look at that. In December, American Airlines announced a distribution strategy stating that approximately 40% of fares currently distributed via traditional channels like the GDS will be made exclusive to their NDC offering. While some high-level information on what that 40% represents is available here, the full extent is yet to be clarified. And we are advising our customers to contact American Airlines directly for further details. American Airlines inventory will remain via traditional channels. However, certain fares are going to be exclusive to NDC. And these fares that are exclusive to NDC will not be priced via the traditional availability pricing workflow. The adoption of Sabre's NDC product will be required to consume all fares on offer by American Airlines. Prior to launching AA NDC in Sabre, we did hold a production pilot, and that started in January. As a result of the production pilot, we are very well positioned to launch AA's NDC content in line with their distribution objectives. Here we can see the key capabilities that were launched for American Airlines NDC. As you can see, we do support single adult itineraries as well as multiple adult itineraries. The difference between the two is for single adult itineraries, we can shop, price, book, pay, cancel, prepaid, and we can process order change notifications or schedule changes that the airlines send to us. And we can also service those itineraries. We can void, refund, we can process voluntary exchanges, we can cancel a ticket, cancel an order, and retain the value of that order, and we can process seats. Now, the main difference between the single adult and the multi-adult itineraries is We can manage multi-adult itineraries. What we can't do is we can't currently service them. So for multi-adult itineraries, currently we are not able to void, refund, process voluntary exchanges, cancel and retain order value, and we can't do seats currently for multi-adult itineraries. These capabilities are on our roadmap, and we are currently doing development to build those out, and we are planning on delivering those items, those servicing capabilities, sometime in the second quarter of this year. Moving on now on how to gain access to American Airlines NDC content in Sabre. So if you log on to Sabre Central Marketplace and search for NDC offers from American Airlines, you will land on the ordering page. And after you accept the terms and conditions, you will need the following information in order to complete the order. You will need the agency name, the headquarters country, pseudo cities to be activated, and valid IATA numbers. Please keep in mind that American Airlines does not support TIDs. American Airlines only supports valid IATA numbers. And this is what the actual ordering page looks like then. NDC is activated at the pseudo city code level. If you use Sabre Red 360 as your point of sale, you would select yes in that field. If you're a developer and you want to access American Airlines NDC offer and order APIs, again, you would select yes in that field. Otherwise, you would set that field to no. The NDC Search, Book, and Service app does not apply for American Airlines, so you don't have to worry about that field. And the Sabre Red 360 shopping tie condition allows you to indicate your display preference if two offers are returned with the same carrier, flight number, class of service, and price. And if you make this selection and you want to change it, you can make a change anytime by modifying the order. Now I want to point out where to find some resources for NDC. NDC resources can be found on Sabre Central under the Support tab and then Additional Support. Check out the NDC folder, which brings together a variety of resources. And these resources include new airline-specific pages. These pages contain details about currently supported capabilities for each airline that we have in production today. You'll also find Sabre Red 360 release notes, a Getting Started with NDC guide, as well as a step-by-step NDC ordering guide. Previously recorded webinars can be found under AA NDC info. All of these resources are updated on a rolling basis, so we are keeping this information up to date. At this time, I would like to turn the presentation over to Vicki, and she is going to provide us with a demo of Sabre Red 360 and NDC.
Thank you, Jennifer, for that. And again, well, you actually said a lot of the things that we are going to cover together right now. I am going to do my best to do this as a demo. So I'm going to start sharing my screen with you. You should be able to see my Sabre screen where we are going to try to go through a quick demo on NDC in Sabre Red 360. I just want to remind you, as Jennifer just said, there's a lot of resources available for you, and we do have a lot of training sessions available, scheduled a lot of the times a week, actually. So we do have these trainings available. This is going to be just a quick demo for you to get familiar with how this works and the offers that you are going to get and this amazing content. However, I do recommend to sign up for the NDC training for you to get more details on what we're going to see right now. So I'm going to get started with this demo by actually using a profile. You're going to see that I have some client information already on the screen. You can see that also on the suitcase with the green light, where we are going to access later on. In order for us to be able to access the NDC offers, we are going to use one of the greatest tools in Sabre 360, which is air shopping. I highly recommend that you take a look at this if you are not familiar with it, because it's amazing and it does not work only for NDC. However, today we're going to focus on air shopping just for NDC, but give it a try if you're not familiar with it. I'm going to put in my cities in here so we can go ahead and take a look at the details that are going to come up. I'm going to be doing either a one-way or a round trip, and right here with the mouse or the keyboard, that's going to be totally up to you. I'm going to select my return date. In this case, I'm going to do this for one passenger only, but as Jennifer mentioned, this can be done with American for multiple adult passengers. And as you can see, because of my preferences in my profile, American Airlines is going to be here by default. There's a lot of qualifiers that can be included in your search. You can take a look at those, or again, sign up for the training to get more details on them. We are going to take a look at one qualifier that actually belongs to NDC and that it's also related to what Jenny was telling you about, which is the fact that we have integrated all the content together on the same result page. I'm going to select exclude fare source, so we can just get the NDC offers on the result page. But the idea, one more time, is that you're going to get access to everything together at the same time. In this case, I just want to get NDC offers on the next screen, and that's why I'm excluding the other two. I'm going to shop airfare down. When you shop airfare, also the response is going to be pretty much standard, which is what we always get with air shopping. You do have the ability to apply filters. You're going to have the chance to change the order, which by default, it's going to be by price, as you probably can see on the screen. And you are actually having access to 200 options here, in this case, NDC offers. So you can see how they are grouped by the carrier. You can also hover your mouse over the different information in order for you to be able to get tooltips and more details on the different options that you have on the screen. Of course, you will be able to see the fare source. So in this case, because I excluded Sabre or API fares, you are going to see that this is all coming from NDC. I have the options right here. So these are the different branded fares that for sure you guys are familiar with. And it's just a matter of hovering the mouse over or clicking on the fare or the offer that you want in order for you to get more information. So I can click on main cabin flexible. I can go to the main cabin. I can go to the main plus, and the information will actually change. You will be able to see all the information down below, including the baggage allowance. And before you make your selection for the offer, you can go ahead and get more details. So we can actually take a look at a fare description where you will find a lot of information that will help you on your decision, like the changeability of this fare or offer, the baggage information, the boarding, and of course, anything that has to do with seats. So all the information, it's available for you here. It's just a matter, again, of clicking, as I mentioned before. Once you decide which is the offer that better suits your needs and your customer needs, I am going to click on Select Offer. When we click on Select Offer, we actually have something that is very important to consider, which is an offer time limit. You're going to see there is a clock that starts running right now, and I normally say do not feel pressure at this point or do not feel like you have to run, because that's not the idea. There is an offer time limit at this point, which is again 20 minutes, and this clock actually starts running. But this is just for you to be able to check all the information you need, and moreover to personalize the offer according to who's traveling. That's kind of one of the greatest benefits of NDC offers, and it's the fact that apart from getting great deals, and apart from being able to check a lot of information at this point, you have a repricing option that will enable you to add the frequent flyer number and get this offer updated according to who's traveling. So right here, the repricing option will give you the chance to add your frequent flyer number, click on price, and get this offer updated if applicable. I'm not going to add any of that information because this is a fake system, so I don't have anything to really show in this case, but I do want you to keep that in mind. That's what the 20 minutes are for before the offer expires. Of course, you can go ahead and double check all the information according to your previous selection. You have more information on the rules, and once again, you can access the fare description to get more details. You can take a look at detailed information on the baggage allowance. You can also see the breakdown for the base fare and the taxes. And you can go ahead and access the seat map, which we are not going to do at this point, but I will in a second. Once I checked all the information and I have customized the offer for my client, I can go ahead and create the order. And of course, because I do have a profile that I moved over before getting into the air shopping, I have a lot of information that it's auto-populated at this point. I can go ahead and I can add more details if I want to, but if I scroll down, you're going to see that everything it's actually ready and auto-populated for me. I'm going to actually select here an association with my name for a phone number and the email address, and I'm going to go right away into create order, where you're going to see the successful response. So right here, if you take a look at the screen, I have pretty much the itinerary created for me with the price or the offer price that we were able to see before, plus the ticketing time limit. The order has been successfully created, and there's an order ID that has already taken place at the top of the screen. So this is actually something that it's almost ready. The only thing that I need to do is to get a Sabre rec locator for us to be able to use it in the Sabre screen. This record, it's going to be integrated with Sabre Red 360. So everything that you actually do normally, like your traditional air segments or your hotel bookings or your car bookings, whatever other traditional segment you want, can be integrated into this booking. And that's why what I'm going to do at this point is to clean my screen. I'm going to go to the trip summary, and I'm going to end and retrieve so I can generate my Sabre rec locator at the top of the screen. So I'm going to end and retrieve. This is one more time confirmed already. We have the order ID. I'm going to end and retrieve so I can get the Sabre PNR locator for us to be able to work normally as we do with any other PNR at Sabre. Now here you can see my trip summary, which I actually use a lot in order for me to add things to the PNR or to work with my itinerary by clicking on the three dots. You can also see the graphical PNR on the screen, which is quite important, and you will be able to see how the graphical PNR it's actually divided in different tabs. Each of these tabs are going to show you a lot of important information when it comes to NDC. So you can go to the itinerary, and when you open this app, you will be able to access the seat map. You can also do this by clicking on the three dots on the at the end of the segment on the trip summary. So there's again a lot of ways to do things in Sabre. The graphical PNR, it's going to be very important when it comes to NDC since you are going to find a lot of information. So if I go to the itinerary, for example, not only I have the option to delete or to add other segments as mentioned before, but I can also open up the seat map. And if I open the seat map, assigning the seats, it's going to be pretty much the same as what we do with any traditional segment. You're going to be able to see the seat map with any paid seat and charges. I am going to assign a seat at no cost. So I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to click on the tab for the return, and I am going to assign another seat. And then I'm going to click on save. When I click on save, and let me click here again because that response happens with the training environment where I'm working. When you click on save, you're going to get a successful response, and you will be able to see it at the top. You can go ahead and you can close at this point. And you will be able to see now when I go to the quotes that something that happens immediately is that the airline takes care of these EMDs or these documents that need to be issued for the seats. So if I go to the quotes, not only I'm going to see my order, this is basically my order item for the offer that I selected on the previous screen. I'm going to see my ticketing time limit. We're going to do the fulfillment in a moment, but also the seats have been added automatically in here. I can easily see the seat number. This is a free seat as mentioned before, and for that reason, they show ticketed. So this is what happens when you actually assign a seat at no cost. You're going to have these order items added for your seats and showing ticketed immediately. So this is how you're going to access all the information. You have, of course, your detail for the traveler. You have the remarks. And of course, once we get to the fulfillment, we will be able to take a look at the ticketing tab. Now, I just want to remind you that you can also use some formats, and I would like you to remember the key combination Control I. If you do Control in the letter I, you're able to immediately go to your manual command, and you will see right here my classical PNR. So there's a lot of information that you can continue to display exactly on the same way as you do nowadays. So you can go ahead and you can take a look at the emails. You can go ahead and look at your itinerary. You will be able to take a look at your ticketing field. So a lot of formats will actually behave on the same way. However, there are some things, as mentioned earlier, that you're not going to do because this is not a Sabre standard booking. Of course, you could actually start right now adding more traditional segments like other air segments, hotels, cars, and then you will be able to see a price quote if you save the price. However, if this is just a standalone NDC booking, remember you do need to have a good idea of the graphical layout. So I can click on the PNR locator to access my graphical PNR because that's where you're going to see most of the information. So I've done actually everything on this NDC booking. We have assigned seats. What we are going to do right now is to fulfill this order. So the fulfillment also will be done graphically, and you're going to use the workflow panel for you to be able to do that. So I'm going to click on the triangle on the right hand side of the screen where I have access to workflows. And I'm going to see a lot of the options which you can continue to use, like documents and messaging if you use that for NDC orders too. And what we are going to do is to fulfill this order. When I click on fulfill order, this is where you're going to see all of your order items. In this case, of course, the only one that I have to pay for is the one that I actually selected as an offer. Right here, we have the ticketed services for the seats, and that's because, again, there were no cost for that. But if there was a cost, you would see it in here, and you would be able to issue everything or fulfill everything at the same time. Again, as mentioned before, this is showing ticketed already because there's no charge for these seats that we selected. But again, if there was, you would see that in here, and you will be able to fulfill at this point. I'm going to just select all order items. I'm going to click right here under the form of payment, and I can see, of course, any form of payment that is coming from our profile. You can go ahead and in this demo, I'm going to select cash, but just so you know, the form of payment comes from the profile, or you can use any other credit card. I'm going to select cash for this demo, and I'm going to click on NDC fulfill order. You will be able to see the successful response once again. And this warning that we are getting in here is just because of those two services that have already been fulfilled, the seat ones. Right here, I have the successful response. And at this point, I can go ahead and either close or display tickets. I'm going to click on display tickets, and that will automatically take me to the ticketing tab where I'm going to be able to see that this is divided in different sections. There is a place where your electronic tickets are going to be, and there's a different place where the NDC tickets are going to be. So right here, I can open that ticket, and I will be able to see that it looks pretty much the same as an electronic ticket. So we have the coupon status, which of course it's going to be important for us if we want to be able to do an exchange. We can see the breakdown, and we will be able to access the ticket receipt, which is, again, another great documentation that you can share with your client. So you have all the options in here. You can go ahead and continue to use, as mentioned before, every document delivery option you normally use. All right, you can save, you can print. So all of these options are going to continue to be available for you. So one thing that I would like to show you, and again, this is just for you to remember that you have the chance to use all of those tools. I'm not going to save or print anything, of course. But one thing that I do want to do at this point is to show you the reservation. My ticketing time limit line has been updated, right? So again, we can take a look at some formats. I can do display T, and I'm going to be able to see my ticket order. I have the number. So of course, remember, this is not an electronic ticket. None of these entries are going to work. And that's why I keep on taking you back to the graphical layout. That's where you get to see the whole picture. But for example, you have the accounting lines. So this is, again, integrated into Sabre. For those of you that actually work with a back office system, this is generated automatically for you as soon as you actually fulfill the order. There's also updates on your sales reports, so you will be able to see a specific NDC report where you're going to get to see all the information of the daily sales with totals at the bottom. So everything works pretty much on the same structure. You have accounting lines, you have reports updated for NDC, all right, but there are still, as mentioned before, some things that you will get graphically as mentioned with the ticketing or the offer information. So keep in mind, again, you can go to the graphical PNR by clicking on the recolocator at the top of the trip summary, and keep in mind what we mentioned about the different tabs where you can see all of the details. Of course, if you wanted to void a ticket, as long as you are within the right voiding period, you can also do that, but you will do that once again from workflows. So we can go back to workflows and we will be able to click on cancel ticket or EMT. This is the option that we select when we want to cancel a ticket, or an EMD when we want to void a ticket or an EMD. Right here, because the PNR, of course, is displayed in my work area, I can see that it's automatically reading my order. So I can see it right here and click on continue so I can confirm the type of transaction I'm doing. So in this case, the type, it's void because I'm still within the voiding period, of course, and I am going to be able to void this ticket. If I was outside of the voiding period and the airline allows refunds, then we are going to see here refund, and if there's any refundable value, we will be able to see that automatically in here. In this case, what I'm going to do is just to void this ticket, and you will see that immediately updated into the ticket image as well as on the PNR. So right here, once again, cancel ticket successful. I can display the tickets. I can go ahead and see that the status, it's voided. At this point, I'm going to ignore this reservation now that we've actually seen how the offers look like, how we can actually create an order, how we can fulfill that order, assign seats, and now void. I would like to show you a bit of exchanges, which is another amazing tool that you can use within NDC. So I'm going to just go back to my format and I'm going to ignore this order that we had on the screen, and I'm going to display another one that I had for this demo in order for us to be able to take a look at exchanges. So this is actually a reservation that was issued back on April the 19th. You can see that on the ticketing line. I can, of course, go graphically in order for me to be able to open the ticket, which I'm going to do right now. But just for you to see how the record looks like classically, this is how you can display it as well, same as we do in Sabre. I'm going to go back to the trip summary, and this will allow me to take a look at the basic information of my itinerary. I can go ahead and open it up by clicking on the PNR, and I'm going to click on the ticketing tab just to show you my original ticket in this case. So here you have the issue date, you have the issue date. You can see, of course, the status of the coupons is actually open, which is what we need for us to be able to do an exchange. So gonna clean the screen, and as you may have seen, in order for you to do an exchange with NDC orders, you actually have a separate place to do it. So you're gonna go ahead and click on NDC Exchange Shop. Now, if you take a look at this, basically what the airline is going to do is to actually give you new offers for the order that you want to change. So right here, you will actually select what you want to change. Maybe you don't want to change the entire thing and you want to change only the outbound, or you want to keep the outbound and change the return. So right here, you're going to select which one is the segment or the segments you want to change, or which are the ones that you want to keep. So I want to keep the return and I'm going to change the outbound. You're going to see how that automatically changes at the bottom so I can make the new selection for the date. I can also specify the time if I want, which I'm not going to do in this demo. But right here again, I'm just changing my return for 1 day later from the 2nd to the 3rd. And again, I'm going to shop airfare. When you shop airfare, that's basically when the airline is actually looking for offers that apply to your exchange. Let me go ahead and close workflows. So that's going to allow us to take a look at the whole picture in here, and you will be able to see the different offers. Again, just hover your mouse over to take a look at the different information. There's a lot there that you can learn about the different flights that you have. So this is very, very important that you look here on the different details that appear on the screen. So here, as I scroll down, I'm seeing actually most of them are an even exchange. There's no fare difference. So I can keep scrolling down and I'm gonna get as many offers as the airline is actually providing for this exchange. So right here, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna select one of the options at the top with no fare difference. I will be able to get more information on this flight and I can select offer. One more time, when you select an offer, the clock for the offer time limit starts running. You can check all the information right here. So this is, as mentioned before, this is an even exchange. You can compare the original total with the new total that's on the screen, the itinerary and how it looks like, and all the other information that we mentioned before you actually rebook the order. And that's important because this is the process for the exchange. You actually get the offers again after you select the change that you want to make, and you are going to rebook a new order. So right here, you will have that response, but you will have to actually fulfill this new order as well to process the exchange. So if I click on display order, I'm going to see my order item, which is, of course, the new one for the even exchange, and I'll have to go back to my workflows in order to fulfill that order. So right here, you'll have to fulfill it again in order to actually process that exchange. So right here, you'll see again the successful response and I can display tickets once again. So I'm taken to the ticketing tab and I will get to see my original ticket exchanged and I will be able to see my new ticket opened for the right date. So this is what I have for today's demo. I know it's a very short demo and you probably want to learn a lot more about NDC. As mentioned before, I do recommend that you take our 2-hour session on NDC. So I could actually spend hours and hours talking about NDC. I did my best not to talk a lot so you have enough room for questions, but I do recommend that if you want to get more details on everything that we've seen today at a glance, actually, you can go ahead and sign up for our NDC training whenever you have the chance. That's all for me. I think that back to you, Jennifer.
Thank you very much, Vicki, for that very comprehensive demo. Really appreciate it. Lots of great information there. So let's go ahead and jump right back into our presentation. And we are on the home stretch here, so hang in with us for a few more minutes here, and then we'll open it up for questions. So now I would like to help you prepare for the change and let you know where to find some additional resources. First of all, preparing for the change. So here we have in the center of the slide, we are showing our current EDIFACT GDS workflow. Okay, and on the right-hand side, we see our NDC workflows, right? So to help prepare for the change, adopting NDC will require your organization to evolve. The emergence of NDC will prompt technical and process changes, as well as require your team members to change their behaviors. We expect traditional content and NDC offers to coexist for the foreseeable future. As airlines lean in on NDC retailing and distribution, we see parallel methods of consuming an airline's content, which is an important consideration for our customers. So let's take a closer look at this. Let's look first at cryptic commands and graphical user interface. As Vicki showed, NDC content is only available via the graphical workflow. NDC introduces a new segment type within the PNR, and this segment type does not communicate via the traditional EDIFACT protocols. Interaction with an NDC order can only be accommodated via Sabre's order management APIs. And because of that, an attempt to utilize a simple cryptic format like an XI in the Sabre PNR, it would fail because the cryptic formats do not interact with the NDC protocols. So this is an important consideration when we look at workflow and process management, which may be in place at the point of sale. So if you think of Sabre Scribe and Red apps that interact with the PNR and itinerary, but are not consuming the order management APIs, these processes should be reviewed for compatibility with NDC to avoid disruptions in your operation upon launch. Now let's talk a little bit about schedule-led workflows versus shopping-led workflows. NDC does not support the concept of schedule or inventory-led workflows. It leans into the offer order request, where the offer starts with shopping, as Vicki showed in her demo. With our shopping workflow, we have normalized the content experience for our customers to make it easy to consume. With our shopping workflow, you can request traditionally sourced content, Sabre constructed offers, NDC offers, and even low-cost carrier offers where desired and applicable. And that all comes back in a single result set. Dual paths will exist for the foreseeable future. While airlines are leaning on NDC, they are not withdrawing entirely from the traditional path, but maybe some fare buckets, as in American Airlines case, will only be available via the NDC channel. The way to get all of the fare content is via the graphical shopping-led path in Sabre Red 360. So moving down to PNRs and offers and orders. Some constructs that exist today, such as the PQ records, like Vicki showed us, and FP lines are no longer applicable within the NDC world. As such, the PNR may not contain the same components compared to a traditionally sourced offer. Where this becomes important is with automation tools and other processes. All of these processes should be reviewed to determine if there is any disruption. For example, if you have an auto ticketing application, the ticketing application might be looking for a PQ record as a prerequisite. Because the PQ is not stored in the Sabre PNR, this process would fail. And then last but not least, let's take a look at published fares. With NDC, Sabre no longer has foresight into fare filings and no longer constructs the fare. All the offers are created and provided directly from the airline. As such, the notion of repricing to obtain a lower fare or to benchmark the lowest fare might need to be looked at, and maybe that is no longer valid in the NDC environment. That is something that you have to determine for your operations. You will hear the term continuous pricing or dynamic pricing in the NDC world, and this enables an airline to introduce a graduated fare model which surpasses what can be achieved via the traditional ATPCO fare filing. So we've just covered a lot of ground, and we really appreciate your attention and staying engaged and focused on everything that we have shared today. So to wrap it up here, I would just like to share some additional resources that can help assist in your preparation to accept NDC content. First of all, Sabre has created an NDC microsite, and I suggest that you take a look at this website and bookmark it to help you stay up to date on Sabre NDC news. If you are a developer customer, please check out Sabre Dev Studio, where you can access NDC API documentation. I've already shared some great resources that are available on Sabre Central, but I also want to reinforce what Vicki said. We do have some great training specifically for NDC and Sabre Red 360, and I highly encourage you all to participate in one of those training sessions. And then last but not least, Sabre Central Marketplace is where you're going to go to request to enable NDC content and APIs if you're a developer customer. And that's where you're going to place your order and gain access to NDC content for American Airlines as well as other carriers that we have available for NDC.
Okay, so we are on time. Thank you very much to everyone for being here today, our customers, our clients, but also our presenters, Jennifer, Vicky, and Jane, with all the information that they provide from their respective roles and in Sabre. And also to Alejandro, who was monitoring the chat with the questions. And thank you to all of you. Remember to answer the survey so we can meet in the next webinar. And I'll make sure that is also very, very interesting for all of you. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely end of your day. Bye-bye to all.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.